Hello, Karmazil. This is my feedback to your notes for your evidence paragraph from last week. Now, today we had a small group tutorial, and I hope that gave you a better idea. I think it did, a clearer idea of what we need to include. But still, let me make some comments about last week's example. Even though, of course, you did not have the model, I think it'd be a very good. It absolutely need to go back and look at the model. And that should give you an even better idea. Okay, so let's start here. So basically you've enumerated several ideas, internships, equal opportunities, and then you say here ability does not suit the diversity concepts. I'm not very sure what this means, to be honest. Now when you state in your identification paragraph, you actually have to identify the supporting ideas. Just make sure that your phrasing is very clear. So here, what does it mean diversity? Ability does not suit the diversity context. I'm not very sure what that means exactly, to be honest. And then you say male and female interests in computer science, and then statistical data bar chart, which basically proves that there are a lot fewer minorities and women in tech, in basically in IT, than there are men and majorities, right? At one point he says that ability has nothing to do with gender, but I'm not very sure what ability, when you say ability does not suit the diversity concepts, I'm not very sure what that means. So let's try and see what we've made out of this. Speaker says that abilities are unique to each person, okay, and with that no one can control. Okay, I'm not very sure what that means. And with that no one can control. It does not suit the diversity concepts. You see, this phrasing is kind of unclear. I'm not sure what's going on. As evidence, he shows the statistical data of male. Okay, we got that. That is all says about ability. Girls more skilled to work with people than with encrypting. Yeah, I'm not very sure. So all I can do at this point is just look at your general direction you've taken here, see if you're on the right track. For sufficiency, why is the data inaccurate? Why is the data inaccurate? You say there is no citation. Where and what high school? Oh, so you're saying that there should be specific mention of the high school. That would not necessarily make it sufficient, even if the high school was mentioned. Here, what you can say for sufficiency, basically you have to answer the question, is this one evidence, this piece of evidence, and that was a chart in this case, is this chart enough to prove the supporting idea? Now, I'm not sure what the supporting idea is because it's phrased very unclearly, so I cannot really say whether your comment is on a good track or not. But this is what we are asking for sufficiency. This chart, whatever it is, whether it cites the school or not, that's not so important. Is that enough to prove the supporting idea? I think that chart was actually, all he said with that chart, he was basically talking about, look, there are 18% of women are in tech. and that there is a great gender disparity in the field of tech. Now, if you want to attack that, you can certainly attack it, but that would mean that I guess you would have to know that this is not sufficient. You would have to know that the percent is not correct, and so that would make you go and do a lot of research to find out that actually 18% is not correct. So you could attack it and say it's not sufficient, fine, but what you would need to say is, in order for this chart to be sufficient to prove that only 18% of women are in tech, the author, I'm not even sure how to proceed here. And because you see your supporting idea is very vaguely stated, so I'm not even sure what we're proving here. So let's just stick with the general principles. Sufficiency: is the evidence enough? Is that one chart enough? Okay. Relevancy: you're saying that it is relevant because it talks about computer science. Now here again, I do not understand this very well. Not all of them follow their interest area and choose a college on this field. So what you're saying is relevancy is basically, we're asking this graph or this chart that he shows, is it relevant to the supporting idea? But again, I cannot judge this because I don't know what the supporting idea is in this case. Do you see? It's very difficult for me to give you any feedback right now because I just don't know what exactly you're supporting here. Relevancy, as we said, is about, is that evidence appropriate? So in this case, we would ask, is the chart appropriate evidence to prove the supporting idea? And again, depending on what the supporting idea is, you can make a comment. The chart is not appropriate because of blah blah blah. But we absolutely need to be very clear on the supporting idea first. I think this is the lesson of your notes, because I'm really struggling here. Representativeness: now I like this comment. A random sample, that's very good. In other words, for representativeness, we're asking, are the examples given, in this case the chart or whatever the evidence is, are the examples or the evidence or the data typical? And here your comment about the random sample is very good. So for representativeness, it would be, is this chart, where is it from? Is it about America because he's talking about the US? Those kinds of things. Is the data typical? Does it present the whole picture typically? I think part of the problem that I'm experiencing right now is that you chose this chart, which is very clearly just information about a number. I think if you had chosen other evidence, for instance this one, it would be much easier for you to answer the question, is it relevant, sufficient, or representative? So for the Oracle internship, the question can be answered very easily. Is it sufficient? Of course not. He's just showing one email. He's trying to prove so many he's trying to prove systemic bias in all kinds of internships by just one email. Obviously that's not enough. So I'm just going to make a note. It would be easier to evaluate this supporting idea and its evidence. So it's actually another important thing is it's very crucial. The first step, which supporting idea you're going to choose so that you can make it easy for you to write the paragraph. Okay. Again, for this, you could easily say, is it relevant? Sure, the Oracle email is about targeting specific racial groups, so it's relevant. Is it representative? Probably not, because I mean, if you look at the all internship programs across the US, do all of them specify explicitly that they're looking for Hispanic black women? No, there's a lot of them who are open to everyone. So clearly it's not representative. So this kind of thing, if you chose this one, the first one, that would have been much easier for you to write the paragraph. Okay, so I think you already have a clearer idea after today's small group tutorial. Go back to the model that I gave for week 11. Another model is coming up next week, so I think you should be in better shape this time next week. And if you have any issues, let me know. You can come to my office hour if you want to. But I think now you have a clearer idea. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I found this very difficult right now because I just wasn't sure what the supporting idea was. Okay, good luck.